Hello and welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Thelma Okoro. Nigeria President Muhammad Buhari has removed the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Ibe Kachuku, from his role as the Managing Director of the state oil company, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC. He has now been made chairman of the corporation. A statement issued from the President's office said Kachuku retained his position as the State Minister of Petroleum, but will be replaced by Maikanti Kakala Baru in the new NNPC board. The new board is composed of the following: Chairman Dr. Emmanuel Ibe Kachuku, Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum, Group Managing Director Maikanti Kakala Baru, Abba Kayari, Thomas John Pius, Akiru Lere, Tajuddin Umar, Mohammed Lawal, and Yusuf Lawal. President Buhari urged the new board to ensure the successful delivery of the mandate of the NNPC. Muslim faithfuls in Nigeria are expected to continue the Ramadan fast on Tuesday. The Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, NSCIA, said the reason was because the new moon has not been sighted as at Monday night. Going by the new development, Wednesday, July 6 will be the Eid al-Fitr Day celebration. Nigeria's federal government has already declared Tuesday and Wednesday as public holidays in Nigeria. The Eid al-Fitr festival marks the end of the fasting month of Ramadan. Eid al-Fitr is celebrated on the first day of Shawwal, which is the 10th month in the Islamic lunar calendar, which is marked by the sighting of a new moon. The Civil Defense, Fire, Immigration and Prison Service Board, CDFIPB, has approved the suspension of 14 officers following the daring jailbreak by 2 inmates at the Kuje prison in Abuja last month. The 2 inmates who escaped during the incident are high-profile kidnappers who abducted and killed a woman. In a statement issued, the CDFIPB said the officials were suspended following recommendation of a preliminary investigation into the matter. Those suspended are 4 senior officers and 10 junior staff. Factional chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Ali Modu Sheriff, says he still remains the leader of the party despite a court order removing him from office. A federal high court in Port Harcourt has endorsed the party's May 21st National Convention that removed him as chairman of the PDP. Speaking to journalists, Sheriff said he had instructed his lawyers to appeal the Port Harcourt judgment and to seek a stay of execution of the judgment. PDP has been enmeshed in a leadership crisis which culminated in 2 parallel conventions in Abuja and Port Harcourt. A federal high court sitting in Lagos State, southwest Nigeria, has granted former aviation minister Femi Fani-Kayode 250 million naira bail. Fani-Kayode is being tried by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, for an alleged 4.9 billion naira fraud. He has been in EFCC custody since May 8, 2016. Justice Muslim Hassan on Monday granted him bail with 2 sureties in like sum. He added that the sureties must be owners of landed properties within the court's jurisdiction. The court also ordered Fani-Kayode to deposit his international passport in the custody of the court pending the outcome of the case. Also granted the same bail conditions were former Minister of State for Finance, Nenandi Usman, and Danjuma Yusuf, who were standing trial alongside Fani-Kayode. A federal high court sitting in Abuja has granted oil magnate Jide Omokore 50 million naira bail with 1 surety in like sum. The judge said the surety must own landed properties or must be senior public servants. Omokore was arraigned on Monday before Justice Binta Inyako of the Federal High Court in Abuja alongside Victor Briggs, Abiye Memere, David Mbanefo, Atlantic Energy Brass Development Limited, and Atlantic Energy Drilling Concepts Limited. He was arraigned on 9-count charges of money laundering to the tune of $1.6 billion. A federal high court in Abuja has adjourned till July 7th, ruling on an appeal filed by Okezi Ikpeazu over his removal as governor of Abia State. The court had last Monday sacked Ikpeazu as governor of the state. It ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to issue a certificate of return to Samson Oga, a member of the People's Democratic Party who contested the governorship ticket with Ikpeazu. Consequently, Oga was given a certificate of return and declared governor by INEC. However, Ikpeazu rejected INEC's decision, insisting he still remained the governor of Abia State. He has also filed a motion for stay of orders at the court. At the hearing on Monday, the judge declined to set aside his judgment, saying he would hear other applications on the matter on July 7th. The Police Service Commission has approved the appointment of 1 Assistant Inspector General and 6 commissioners to the rank of Deputy Inspector General of Police. The approval is contained in a statement issued on Monday in Abuja by Ikechukwu Ani, the head press and public relations officer of the commissions. The officers are AIG Shuaibu Gambo, who was appointed as DIG Department of Finance and Administration; CP Joshua Kabila, who was appointed as DIG Department of Operation; CP Maigari Diko, who was appointed DIG Department of Logistics and Supply. Others are CPHM Dagala, who was appointed DIG Department of FCIID; CP Emmanuel T. Inyang, who was appointed DIG Department of Training and Development; CP Ntom Chukwu, who was appointed DIG Department of Research and Planning; CP Folunsho Adebanjo, who was appointed DIG Department of ICT; and CP Abdul Buba, who was appointed AIG Force Secretary. The Nigerian Army says its troops have killed 4 members of the Boko Haram terrorist group in an ambush along Kukawa local government area, Borno State, northeast Nigeria. The terrorists were ambushed by advancing troops of 119 Task Force Battalion, presently mopping the general area of Kukawa local government area. The Army says its troops also recovered 8 motorcycles, 21 rounds of 7.62mm ammunition, 2 AK-47 rifles, an unprimed improvised explosive device, and a 36 Henniger hand grenade, as well as assorted drugs from the terrorists. The Nigerian Air Force has passed out a total of 591 recruits enlisted in its basic training course. The ceremony took place at the Nigerian Air Force Ground Training Center in Kaduna State. Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, who was the reviewing officer, urged the recruits to imbibe the tenets of professionalism, discipline, and sacrifice for which the Nigerian military is known for.
At this juncture,
meets the latest addition to the Nigerian Air Force. These men and women are the last ones standing out of 596 officers who enlisted for intensive military training with the Nigerian Air Force. All dressed in their navy blue uniforms, they marched evenly around the Nigerian Air Force Ground Training Center in Kaduna.
on their faces.
The Air Force says they were selected after proving their physical and mental worthiness at the completion of the training course. The course lasted for 6 months, and 591 of them successfully made the cut. Among the top dignitaries here to witness the passing parade, the Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai and the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar. After the ceremonial parade inspection, the Air Chief stepped on the podium to address the recruits.
For their training, you must have seen that the military profession requires absolute discipline, loyalty, perseverance, and sacrifice, among other virtues. It should be clear to you now that the military service is not just a means of livelihood, but a clarion call to serve the fatherland, which may require you to make the supreme sacrifice. Such noble service demands extraordinary courage, commitment, and patriotism, particularly at this time when our dear country is facing several security challenges and dwindling economic fortune.
Speaking to journalists after the event, Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai commended the Nigerian Air Force for its support in the fight against all forms of restiveness in the country.
Last week, I went to visit the Chief of the Air Staff to ask for the support of the Nigerian Air Force with air power to supplement and complement the efforts of ground troops, both military and paramilitary, in our war against cattle rustling, kidnapping, and armed robbery. And I'm happy to report right away that within a week of my visit to the Air Force headquarters, deployments have been made. 2 aircraft, helicopter gunships are coming to ensure that these criminals, these insurgents, I would refer to them as insurgents, are put out of business.
The Chief of the Air Staff would later also speak to journalists on a number of issues, including the deployment of troops and the training of the recruits.
Certainly, they have been properly trained. They have been given the required skills. They will still require some specialist training in certain areas. For instance, those that are going for aircraft maintenance, they will have to go for aircraft maintenance training and so many other specialties in the Air Force. But what I can tell you is that as soldiers, they have been properly trained and have been given the requisite skills to make sure that they are able to fit into fighting the challenges that we are facing.
The Nigerian Air Force resounding confidence on the abilities of these recruits certainly clears any form of doubt about how ready they are to tackle any difficulties that lie ahead. Thelma Okuru, TV360, Kaduna. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll look at business, international and sports stories. Don't go away.
From the multi-award-winning filmmaker.
What were you doing at the beach resort?
The first ever Pan-African movie.
We've all met at company retreats in the past before.
Each one with a mission and a strategy to determine who will be the next CEO.
I googled you last night. I came up with nothing. Nada.
I'm off the grid. I fly below the signal.
Coming to the cinemas from the 15th of July, 2016.
10 VIP CEO premiere tickets and 20 autographed DVDs up for grabs when you pay for the OLX Do It For Me service from 6th of June to 1st of July 2016. Visit olx.com.ng to book a champ now.
OLX, sell it!
Corruption not in my country.
Mr. John! Mr. John! What is it now?
What is it now?
Please turn down the volume of your music. It's too loud.
And how is that your business?
It is disturbing me. I can't sleep.
And the same way you are disturbing my right to good music and where I enjoy it. Eh? What's wrong with you? Is any other person complaining?
Maybe we thought that you have lost your mind. Are you having a party?
I'm just respecting you, sir. You remember I paid my husband too.
You will not understand why we are complaining because you do not care about other people except yourself. Look, the transformation we need in this country begins in this compound.
Yes, now.
From you and I. This your selfishness is an offshoot of corruption. And corruption not in my country. Oh, you know, go to your bank. Go.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. You are watching TV360 News now. The Central Bank of Nigeria has sacked the board and management team of commercial lender Skybank. CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele made the announcement at a press briefing in Lagos State, southwest Nigeria. He said the CBN had conducted its stress test and decided to replace the chairman, chief executive and all non-executive directors after they failed to recapitalize the bank. A new chairman, Muhammad Ahmad, has now been appointed to head the bank.
The Central Bank of Nigeria has called this special press briefing on the banking industry in order to inform the general public of its decision to effect changes in the key personnel on the board and management of Skybank PLC with effect from today, Monday, July the 4th, 2016. Specifically, these changes relate to the chairman, all non-executive directors of the bank, as well as the managing director, deputy managing director, and the two longest-serving executive directors on the management team. These proactive moves have become unavoidable in view of the persistent failure of Skybank PLC to meet minimum thresholds in critical prudential and adequacy ratios, which has culminated in the bank's permanent presence at the Central Bank of Nigeria lending windows. In particular, Skybank's liquidity and non-performing loans ratios have been below and above the required thresholds, respectively, for quite a while. Given the aforementioned issues and the fact that Skybank is a domestic, systemically important bank in Nigeria with significant interconnectedness, the CBN will be failing in its duties if it does not take immediate action to nip the steadily declining health of the bank in the board and correct the situation.
The CBN governor, however, insisted that Skybank is not distressed but has fallen below the regulated capital adequacy ratio.
Skybank is not in distress and remains a healthy bank in the system. The CBN hereby assures depositors, shareholders, and all relevant stakeholders that there is no reason for concern or panic as we seek their continued cooperation and support for the bank at this time. We do not want the ratios of this bank, its prudential and adequacy ratios, to worsen to a point where depositors' funds get into risk, and that's why we decided to take this decision. And but of course, unlike you've been told, the board themselves have come to realization that they've tried their best and that it is about time for them to say, well, let's bow out at this time so new team can come in and then run the bank and improve the position of the bank.
A recent agreement reached by the Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, NECA, and the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, to suspend picketing some commercial banks may have hit the rocks. The NLC had planned to picket the banks over the mass sack in the banking sector. However, another faction of the NLC says no agreement was reached with NECA to shelve its planned picketing exercise.
It is a time for commercial banks in Nigeria. No thanks, of course, to the country's harsh economy at the moment. Virtually all of them have resorted to mass sacking of staff, pitching them against labor unions in the country, who have been picketing the banks for weeks now.
Analyze those banks.
It is 4 days now that the Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, NECA, brokered a truce between the banks and unions, leading to the suspension of the picketing.
Well, thank you very much.
The agreement now appears to be threatened as the Ajero faction of NLC says it does not recognize it. It is the issue the umbrella body of all employers in Nigeria is here to address.
The only NLC we know, which is led by Comrade Ayuba. Any other body that is parading itself as NLC is simply acting illegally.
The Nigeria Labour Congress has been fractionalized, leading to the emergence of two parallel presidents and executive.
From our own understanding of the law and the practice of industrial relations, long before now, the government ought to have prosecuted the faces of the so-called faction of the trade of the NLC, because it is a rogue union. It's not supported by the law. The law is very clear about it. We will write to the minister to inform the minister on the development. We will write to the Inspector General of Police to let the Inspector General of Police know the law, and to let the Inspector General of Police know that in the event that this rogue union matches out with its members, that would be the height of criminality.
It remains to be seen how the Ajero faction responds to the warning from NECA. But it does appear the crisis between the banks and unions is far from over. Tunji Olanipekun, TV360.
Oil prices fell on Tuesday. Brent crude dropped back below $50 per barrel, while international benchmark Brent crude oil futures were trading at $49.60 per barrel. U.S. crude was trading at $48.22 per barrel. Analysts say that concerns over the global economy were weighing on the outlook for oil demand and on prices. A suicide bomber has killed 4 security officers and injured 5 others near one of Islam's holiest sites in the Saudi city of Medina. The bomber detonated his explosives after being stopped outside the Prophet's mosque. The mosque is the burial place of the Prophet Muhammad, and Medina is the holiest city in Islam after Mecca. Suicide blasts also struck 2 other Saudi cities on Monday. The number of people killed in Sunday's suicide bomb attack in Baghdad has risen to over 200. The government has declared 3 days of mourning after the huge blast, which injured 225 others. A lorry packed with explosives was detonated in the Karada district while families were shopping for the holiday marking the end of Ramadan. It is believed to be the deadliest single bomb attack in Iraq since 2007. Moving on to sports stories now, Nigeria's under-20 national team, the Flying Eagles, are scheduled to depart the country on Wednesday, July 6th to Khartoum to face the Sudan under-20 national team in the first leg of their African under-20 Cup of Nations qualifiers. The Flying Eagles reached the final qualifying stage after suing of Burundi's Young Swallows in the last qualifying round. The game will be played on Sunday, July 10th, 2016. Nigeria is the most successful side at the Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations with 7 titles. The country is also the defending champion, having won the last tournament held in Senegal. Former Olympian Oscar Pistorius will on Wednesday discover how much time he will spend in jail for the murder of his girlfriend, River Steenkamp. The Blade Runner faces a minimum of 15 years in prison, but may get a lesser sentencing due to his health situation or his previous time spent in jail. Pistorius was previously sentenced to 5 years imprisonment after he was found guilty of culpable homicide after saying during the trial that he mistook Steenkamp for a mistruder and shot her. However, the Supreme Court overturned the conviction after 5 judges unanimously ruled that the previous judge had made a judgment which was fundamentally flawed. During an interview last month, Pistorius claimed that Steenkamp would have wanted him freed if she were still alive. The Court of Arbitration for Sport has set aside July 21st to rule on an appeal filed by Russian athletes to be excluded from the IAAF Olympic ban on the country. Last month, Russian Sports Minister Vitaly Motko had also revealed that at least 68 athletes had been exempted from the ban. The IAAF had last month upheld a ban on the All-Russian Athletics Federation, disqualifying Russian athletes from competing at the Rio Olympics. However, IOC President Thomas Bach had on Tuesday said the country's athletes could perform at the Olympics if they can prove that they are clean and free of doping. That's all we have on News Now. Thank you very much for watching. I am Thelma Okoro.